Hello, welcome to Sue the Stress Hacker and some yoga with a bolster. So get your bolster ready and make yourself comfortable into Shavasana, which is the corpse pose, laying flat on the floor. Even though you may have a little bit of a backache, just for the moment, lay on the floor with your legs about shoulder width apart. Just take a moment to relax here and just notice how you feel. So I'm aware that many people suffer from low backache, especially in the winter time when the kidneys maybe get a little bit cold. So we will use the bolster pretty much immediately. So I just want you to notice here if one hip feels a bit higher than the other, if the back feels particularly tight in anywhere, and just take a moment also to observe your breathing. Do your best to begin to relax. And then, as I say, let's start with the bolster straight away. So a nice way to just starts to open up the lower back, gives the kidney sacs a little bit of a stretch. We're just going to start with the bolster underneath the back of the knees. So your feet may be off of the ground, as mine are, or they may actually touch the ground. So whatever feels right for you. So already having the knees supported in this way just takes a little bit of tension out of the lower back, and we can begin to relax straight away. Rolling the palms to face the ceiling. Back of the neck is long. We always want to have a bit of space behind the back of the neck and the floor. And we can use this time to just tune in, notice how we feel. So just scanning your body from the crown of your head, right down the back body, just notice whether you have one shoulder blade more open than the other. Are more points of one arm in touch with the floor than the other? And just notice what you notice. Are there any energy blocks? Do you feel weak in any particular part of your body? Do you feel blocked anywhere? Do you have pain, discomfort? Just simply observing. And once again, bringing the awareness to your breathing. And we'll just start with a couple of purging breaths. So you're going to breathe in through the nose and take a nice sighing breath out through the mouth. And again, nice deep inhalation through your nose. And just release the breath out of the mouth. One more time. So you could always pause the video and stay here for longer if you feel that you want to. But now we're just going to start with a few warm-ups. So you can see I've just used the bolster to rest my feet on it and scoop my buttocks down, just lengthening in the lower back. And then from there, just gently bending the knees to the chest, one hand on each knee, and just gently rock the knees toward you and away from you. Toward you and away from you. And now we're breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, unless you still feel you need to just discharge a bit of stagnant air energy, and in which case you can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So as we're just rocking here, we're just ironing out any tension in the sacrum, back of the pelvis, lower back. And that's good. And then we can just bring the hands either around the back of the thighs, or if you can reach around your shins, or use a strap or a belt across the shins, just holding the knees toward your chest, the thighs toward your chest, the knees toward your face. And when you're here, Just imagine your tailbone, that little bone at the end of the spine, is like a big alligator's tail. Imagine you can lengthen it away from you. Imagine it becoming heavy, and you're sending that tailbone away from you. You're sending your sit bones away from you, and also the front of the hips. Imagine that you're sending your hips away from you as you pull down and pull the knees toward the chest. So we've got this nice two-way stretch going on. And then you can just relax. And again, just send the tailbone, sit bones, and the hips away from you whilst drawing the knees towards your face and the thighs towards your chest. And there's always this equal and opposite movement going on. And now relax. Excellent. This time, as you draw the thighs down toward the chest, you're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose. As you breathe out through the mouth, forehead toward the knees, chin to the chest, completely exhale, and then breathing in through the nose, take the head back down. And repeat 2 more times. Or twice even. So they're the double wind relieving exercises designed to expel gas from the abdominal region. Back to one hand on each knee, and then just making a really small, just push the bolster away if it's in your way, really small circles with the knees. So this is oiling the hips, giving the hips a nice little circular workout or massage. Hip is a ball and socket joint, as we know, but it doesn't often get this nice circular massage. Circling back in the opposite direction, so there's a tendency to use a hip joint, which is a ball and socket joint, more like a hinge joint, because we stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. And so I was saying, unless you're kickboxing or salsa dancing, the hips don't get a good circular move like this usually. So they quite like it. And then you could take the knees a little wider and close your eyes and just notice how that does pull toward the sacrum on the back of the pelvis. So remember, ahimsa, no violence, nice and gentle. Go back in the opposite direction. And of course, because we're taking the knees quite wide, there's just a little gentle stretch down these yin channels, the inner seams of the insides of the legs down toward the groins. It's always quite nice for the bladder as well, just bringing some prana, some chi down toward the bladder. And the bladder and the kidneys are a pair. The bladder being a yang organ. And then rest. And then just straighten the legs up. And them again, wrapping your arms around your shins or the back of the thighs and starting to roll from side to side. Just feeling your back muscles being gently massaged by the pressure of the floor. And we can introduce a very nice little spinal twist by allowing the head to roll in the opposite direction from the knees. Excellent. So that's just a bit of a gentle warm-up. Of course, you can pause the video and you can do more warm-ups if you feel that you have to, or want to, or need to. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is you might want to sit up, put the bolster behind you, and then roll up so that you have your sacrum, try not to be on the zip, you have the sacrum and the buttocks resting on the block, the bolster. Okay, so even this is reversing the organs just a little. You can see I'm in a very natural, gentle bridge pose here. Again, remember that we want some space between the back of the neck and the floor, and widen the shoulder blades. And just take a moment to ground your feet. So when I say ground, I mean earth. Don't grind your feet into the earth, but just lift the toes, lengthen them. Better to work in bare feet. So if you can warm your feet up before your yoga practice. And lengthen the toes, have the feet parallel, the heels roughly in line with your knees. And just relax. You can bring the palms to face the ceiling. So just enjoying this gentle bridge pose. And then we'll just actually put a little bit of pressure on the feet. So as I say, you're not grinding, but you might even lift slightly from the bolster in order to press your feet into the ground, as if your feet are in damp sand. Just feel the outline of the outside edges of your feet and the toes. Also feel the inside edges of the feet. This is important. Just feeling that connection with the earth, and then relax. And again, just engage in the feet with the earth. Just probably if I took my foot off now, you'd see a slight imprint in the mat. And then relax again. And that's good. So the first thing that we're going to do is quite a nice stretch. It's quite a deep stretch. So certainly if you've had any surgery around the abdominal area at all, if you've had any abdominal surgery or recovering from anything, just go gently. So the first thing we're going to do, and we'll work with the left leg since it's facing you, is extend the left leg. And just enjoy that stretch there. So if this feels too intense for you, you could always just shorten it by placing the foot on the floor. It's actually quite nice to have the heel resting on the floor. So you're opening up in the front of this hip, you're opening up the quad, which is the leg gates, that's the inguinal ligament that leads down toward the pubis. And this area here has a pulse in it, and it's a gate, it's an avenue where we want the energy from the earth to be able to come up through the nerves in the legs and into the pelvic bowl to give us energy here. And that should be enough there. So now you're going to bring that foot back and extend your right leg. Resting that right heel on the ground, or if it's too intense a stretch, you can always just put your the hold of the foot there. And just take your breath to this area. So when you next breathe in, imagine the breath around the front of the hip, around this inguinal ligament, down through the thigh. Keeping the opposite foot engaged. Not by pressing it in, but just have a sense of connection there. Could do a purging breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. That's good. We're going to go back to the first side, extending the left leg again. And this time, keeping this left shoulder blade on the floor. On the inhale, just lifting this left arm up. If there's room behind you to extend the arm, keeping the shoulder blade nicely relaxed, fine. If there's not enough room, you can just crook the elbow beyond the head. So we're getting a nice long stretch down this left side of the body. And breathe. Great. And as you exhale, you can bring this arm down. You can slide the left foot back and extend your right leg again. Just enjoying that stretch. And then inhale, taking that right arm up and overhead or out at shoulder height. Or if you've got issues with like frozen shoulder or something, then just take it out at shoulder height. Taking a breath, again, you could purge breath. You could use any of the healing sounds. So the long sound is S's. Excellent. And then bringing that arm down and sliding the foot back. So of course, move the bolster around. If you feel it's not quite in the right position, feel free to move it around. And as we extend the left leg again and the right leg this time, you can of course tie your belt around your thighs if you wanted to. And so this again can feel quite extreme. As I say, if you need to wriggle around to be a little more comfortable, you can always do that. So really feeling that you're opening up in the lower abdominal area. Just this mid chakra here, this mid base bottom chakra, the second one's Svadhisthana, having a nice stretch and open. Have a lot of stagnant energy around the abdominal area. So if it feels that that's enough, you could just come back and rest for a moment. And then stretch out again. And this time as you inhale, taking the arms up and overhead. So it's a really open pose, isn't it, for first thing in your yoga practice. Really opening the front of the chakras, the heart, the abdominal area, everything opening to the sky. And again, still got this space behind the back of the neck. If I'm holding it for too long, obviously you come back when you're ready. Or again, you can pause and stay here a little longer. Excellent. And then just walking the feet in, just relaxing into your supported bridge pose for a moment. And then you might want to bring the feet a little closer and lift up just sufficiently to roll the bolster away from you and to allow your back to rest back onto the floor. Just giving things an opportunity to settle. It's the muscles getting used to relaxing. Just taking a moment to allow everything in the front of the body just to absorb what we did there. And then we're going to bring the feet to rest on the bolster, or if you wanted to, you can bring your feet flat to the floor to do this. And I'd like you to apply Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha. So Mula comes from the word Muladhara, which is the base chakra at the genitalia. And Mula Bandha, Bandha means lock, a seal. So Mula Bandha is we're sealing energy in. And the way that we do this is just very gently contracting at the base of the spine. With men, it might be more the sphincter. With females, it's more of a very, very subtle pelvic lift. There's no squeezing, there's no gripping. It's just a very small inversion with the pelvic floor. And then Uddiyana Bandha, Uddiyana means to fly up. We just allow the navel to come back toward the spine. Again, not gripping it back, but just take it back. If you could take the navel back to the spine 100%, just gently draw it back by about 20% and slightly upward. And then what we're going to do is some foot tapping to wake the feet up. So with the bandhas applied, you can still breathe into your ribs, into the lower lobes of the lungs. So you're pattering your feet on the bolster, side to side, and you're keeping the bandhas engaged, side to side, backwards and forwards. And then just come onto the heel, just the heels, side to side, backwards and forwards, and then just tiptoes, just pitter-patter the tiptoes, backwards and forwards, side to side, and then lift the toes and just the front pads of the feet, side to side, backwards and forwards. If you need to rest, come onto the the outside edges of the feet like a karate chop. You can feel this in the muscles of your legs, and then the whole foot again. And excellent. And then just rest your legs over the bolster once again. In breath through the nose. Sigh the breath out through the mouth. So energy moves in waves and pulses. So you'll feel this energy now starting to waft up through the soles of the feet. Because we open the quad, we can feel this area here inside of the pubis. We can start to feel some of this earth energy just wafting its way up toward the pelvic bowl. So just close your eyes for a moment, enjoy the sensations, enjoy the rebound. And then make your way up to the bolster again. And when I say up to the bolster, I mean sit in your sacrum on the bolster. Again, just check that you're not pressing the neck into the floor. We want space behind the neck, at least enough to pass a pencil. Okay, so actually I'm going to need to move down just a little bit further. Okay, so once you're here, settle and bend the knees towards you and up into the air. So we can take a moment here. So if the knees are bent a little bit, that's fine. We can just take a moment here to scrunch the toes, release, scrunch, release, scrunch, release. So have your legs straight if you can, get them straight. You can hold the back of your thighs. You're scrunching the toes, release, scrunch, release, scrunch, release, scrunch, release. Spreading the toes, creating space between them. And now flex and point the feet. Do this at least 9 times. Flex and point, lift the heels to the ceiling and then the toes. The feet like this. And then we're going to circle the feet around in one direction. And just if you hear some cracking, that's okay. It's just a bit of butter escaping from the joints, wind. And then circle back in the opposite direction. So you're circling the feet. Excellent. And then bend your knees so you've got the bolster to support you here, and reach for your toes. See if you can reach for your toes, like baby pose. And you can stretch one leg and then the other, and both together. And you can just move your feet around in the air, just feeling the sacral area supported by the bolster. And you can maybe hold the inside arches of your feet or the big toes. If you can't reach, you can always hang on to your shins. So just playing around there, soles of the feet facing the ceiling. And then again, just extend one leg out to the side, the other leg out to the side. Just enjoy that nice stretch down to the groins. And bend the knees again. So we're going to use the bolster, but we also may use our hands to help to take the legs as far overhead as we can. So your knees may be bent a bit, that's okay. So we take the legs over the face. This might be all you can do today, and that's marvelous, or even that. So just be patient with yourself and just enjoy being in the moment. So in Halasana, the plow, it's a lovely stretch to the spine. You can feel that nice stretch along the back of the spine. And we may want to just use a bit of momentum to roll, bringing the hands behind the back to perhaps roll onto the shoulders and take the toes to the floor. So make sure that your hands are really supporting your lower back. Take the legs wide. A bit congested here, so don't turn your head. Keep your chin in towards your chest. This is part of the benefit. It presses into the thyroid, which helps to regulate metabolism. I need to do more of this. So toes on the floor and then coming back. You might even bring the legs up as you come back. So Halasana, the plow. And then you can bend the knees, bring the feet slowly to the floor. And you may want to lift up to roll the bolster out, or gently find your way out of the pose. And just take a moment to come back onto the floor into Shavasana. Sigh the breath out. And again, just take a moment to integrate the pose. So close your eyes for a moment. Feel what you feel, notice what you notice. And just bend your knees, bring your feet flat to the floor. Take your feet at least hip width apart. You can have your arms out to the sides. And we're just going to do a nice wind wiper with the knees. So just you can roll the hips as well, just taking the knees over to one side and then up and over to the other side. So it's a nice outer hip stretch. The arms can be out at shoulder height. So you can feel that you're rolling across the feet on the inside edge of one foot and the outside as you take the knees to one side and then the opposite, inside edge and outside edge, come to the floor. Roll the head in the opposite direction to the knees. And then just come to rest in the center. Bend the knees to the chest. And just roll from side to side. And as you roll over onto one side, you can come up to all fours and I'm going to bring the bolster onto the floor in front of you. Do your best to sit your buttocks back towards your heels. You can have a little bit of space between the knees if you want. And you're just going to drape your arms over the bolster. It's going to give us a nice stretch into the back, into the shoulder blades. And you could roll the bolster towards you and then roll it further away to deepen that stretch and actually get a nice stretch in the armpits as well. So hanging the head low, if that's comfortable. If it isn't, keep the head in line with the neck. So you can just stretch by rolling the bolster towards you and away from you, just allowing that stretch to deepen into your lower back. Excellent. And then you can come, actually let's just do a couple of cat stretches. So on all fours, lengthen through the front of the body as you inhale through the nose, taking the gaze toward the ceiling as you exhale through the mouth, drawing the chin to the chest, the tailbone down toward the floor. Strong in-breath through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, chin to the chest. Spread the fingers, lots of space between your fingers. Excellent. And then just sit round into Dandasana, so sitting on your sit bones. And for a moment, you're just going to put the bolster on your shins. And again, just rolling forward. So I'll show you from the side. Again, it's a really nice stretch. Just hanging out with your forehead resting on the bolster. Or arms hanging on the bolster. So don't have the bolster on your knees. Make sure it's on your shins. And then as you come up, you can roll the bolster up to underneath your on your tummy, and again just rolling, hanging over. So if you have any trouble hanging over the bolster when it's down on your shins, this can be quite nice as well. This kind of reaches different parts of the back. You can feel the opening in the muscles. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I didn't suggest you may want to have a block or a brick or a cushion near you for the next work that we're doing. So we're going to place the bolster. I'll teach you a mirror image. So this is your right leg here. The bolster is there beside your right leg. You'll bend your left knee and bring your left heel ideally into the groin of the opposite leg. Now, we never want to feel any discomfort in this knee, in any knee. So you might want to just have a little bit of support underneath there to protect the inner knee. You should never feel any pain, definitely not pain, but no discomfort in the knee. We'll have a little alignment as well with this heel. So rather than letting the leg flop out, make sure that you're on the middle of the heel. Okay, so, and then we root to rise. So we ground the sit bones. We send the sit bones down into the ground. So when I say ground, I mean earthing, connecting, not grinding the hip bones. So connect the sit bones with the floor. And then we're going to use the bolster to rest this arm on, this right arm. And as we root the sit bones, we're just going to apply a little mula bandha. So we've again got this two-way stretching going on. So the sit bones go down and we gently draw the pelvic floor up. And then we're going to reach up with this left arm, reaching up and rooting, and then coming into a side bend. And we've got the bolster there to lean on. So don't be too far forward or too far back, but in line with the sit bones. And then come down. And one more time. Rising up with this left arm and taking a side bend. Breathing there, just opening the armpit. And we'll just turn the palm to face the ceiling. So we just slightly deepen that stretch. So it's a really nice opening around the waist. Side bending always good for toning the waist. And come down and go to the other side. So maybe that you actually need more support. And I should have said that make sure that you're on the front of your sitting bones, so you're not back on your tailbone. If you have a tendency to do this, then use a block or some cushions or even a rolled up towel just underneath the back. I'll show you, just underneath the back of your buttocks, and it can actually help you to remain upright. So, okay. So back to our side bend, and we've bent forwards, backwards, sideways. So we're bending this right leg, bringing the heel of the right foot into the groin of this left leg. And again, we want some support, or maybe we don't need it. And be on the middle of the heel of the outstretched leg. Root to rise. Root the sit bones down. Gently draw in Mula Bandha, resting the arm on the bolster, reaching up with the right arm, and again, not too far forward, not too far back. And as you exhale, just taking a nice side bend. So this knee might want to come up, you can just allow it to relax down. You can see I'm quite tight in my hips, always have been. And coming down. I'm going to do that one more time. So reaching up with this right arm. And then as we bend over, we can turn the palms, face the ceiling, and just enjoy this stretch. Nice side bend. So the spine is bending sideways, and we have a lot of tension in the sides of the spine. So these discs between the vertebrae, just getting a little airing there, breathing well. Excellent. And coming back. Okay. So bringing the feet together. So if the knees are feeding back to you, if they're giving you any kind of message, rub your hands together and just gently rub the sides of the knees, just warming them up. Okay, so the next trick, we are going to use the bolster. I'm going to sit on it. So now, just a word of caution, if this is too much for you, do this on a chair. So these are squats. Squats are really, really good for developing core strength. First of all, I'm just going to sit onto the bolster and We'll take the feet apart. Just going to give a little stretch to those Achilles tendons. So knees and toes like to face in the same direction. So have the toes and knees in the same direction, and the knees shouldn't go over the toes. And we're just going to bring the hands toward the floor if we can. If we can't reach, we could use a block or a couple of blocks. And just by leaning forward a little bit, we can feel that stretch on the back of the Achilles tendon that runs down to the heel. And you may even want to just lift the buttocks a little from the floor, from the bolster. So place the hands on the floor, just enjoying the stretch, moving forward a little bit. And as I say, you might want to just experiment lifting the buttocks and then coming down again, lifting the buttocks and then coming down again. And of course you could, especially if your bolster is sagging or if you need a bit of height, you could use a block on top of the bolster. Okay, so then we're going to do some squats. So we need to be able to get up from our sofa, from our chairs, without having to hang on to things. We need the core strength. So the pelvic floor gently comes up and inward, Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, navel back toward the spine and up very slightly. And in your mind's eye, have everything push into the midline of the body, have the knees and toes in line with each other as you stand up. And then sit down again. And stand up. And sit down again. So, when you're ready, standing up and sit down again. Stand up. You can use your hands to help. And sit down again. Stand up. So these are really, really good for us. And sit down again. So I'm just going to adjust the camera slightly so that you can see the next one that we're going to do that is quite good. You can imagine that you're holding a ball of energy. And as you stand up, you lift one leg, place it back down, and the other leg, whoops, place it back down, and back down. Stand up, lift one foot, place it back down, lift the other, place it back down, and sit down. And coming up, lift one leg, now sit back down, come up, lift the other leg, sit back down. Only one more. Sit down, and coming up, lift one leg, and sit down. Excellent, well done. Okay, so sitting back, just turn the camera back a bit. Okay, place your bolster behind you, sit out into Dandasana. So we bent forwards, backwards, sideways, and then we're going to twist, and then that gives us a nice, gentle yoga workout for the whole of the spine. So we're lifting up. Again, I'm teaching a mirror image. You're going to take your right arm back to drape it over the bolster, bring the left hand to the outside of the right thigh, and just flex the feet slightly and lift and turn to look over this right shoulder. Your hips should be over your sit bones, shoulders roughly over the hips, and then come back. Inhale, lift. As you exhale, taking the left hand behind the bolster and bringing this right hand to the outside of the left leg and turn to look over your left shoulder. Now, just look back. Is your left leg shorter than your right? So try not to pull back in the hip. Let's look over. Excellent. One more time on each side. Taking right arm back over the bolster, bringing the left hand to the outside of the right leg. Lift and turn to look over. The gaze should be to the top right of the room. And back to the center. Taking the left hand back. Can you feel both sit bones in contact with the ground? Can you apply a slight Mula Bandha as you look up to the top left corner of the room? Excellent. Really good for digestive issues, twisting. So you could do more of those if you wanted to. And then we're just going to finish our practice by coming back into Shavasana. So laying back on the floor. So hopefully you're feeling more relaxed and open in your back, in your lower back, around your abdominal area. You could always just rest your feet over the bolster if you want, but just spending a few moments here. Close your eyes. Just notice the energy moving in your body. So although you're completely still, feel all the activity, the energy. As I say, energy moving in pulses and waves through the meridians or the nadis, the pathways, energetic pathways in the body. Notice your breathing. So you can stay here for as long as you like. You can always pause the camera again. Stay here for a little longer. Just enjoying your body relaxing into the mat, into the ground. A relaxed sense of awareness. Notice how you feel. So you can continue to rest here. As I say, pause the camera. We can just slowly now walk your feet in. Scoot your buttocks down to your heels. Bend your knees to your chest. Wrap your arms around your knees. And just roll gently from side to side. Keep your eyes closed. And when you're ready to roll over slowly onto one side, you can stay there on one side. And then come up to a comfortable seated position. And bring the hands into Anjali Mudra, the prayer position, with the knuckles of the thumbs resting on the sternum, the energetic heart center. Bow your head to your own innate knowledge and wisdom, your own inner teacher and guru within your heart center and the heart chakra. Take a moment to thank yourself for showing up for your practice. Sometimes listening to the wisdom in your heart as opposed to your head, which often is a bundle of programming and not always right. Sometimes tune in to what your heart wants you to know. Said apparently that the longest journey is the journey from the head to the heart. So to actually get out of the head where the ego is and come in to listen to the truth of your heart, your truth, what's right for you. And then briskly rub your hands together, keeping your eyes closed still. So we've got these mini chakras in the palms of the hands. So you're stimulating them now by rubbing right up to the fingertips. And then cupping, don't touch your face, but just cupping your palms just over your eyes. Gently open your eyes. Imagine your eyes could breathe in energy there. And then bring the hands back to Anjali Mudra. Om Shanti. Om Shanti means peace be with you. Thank you for sticking with the class. Sue, the stress hacker, please sign to the subscribe button and the bell so that you know when I've posted something new. And any comments, please feel free to leave them below. Thank you.